Last Tuesday, I finally had a free afternoon. No meetings, no errands, nothing urgent on my to-do list. I was exhausted from weeks of back-to-back work, so I did what any tired person would do. I sat down on my couch, opened Netflix, and immediately felt terrible about it. My brain started doing that thing. You know the one. You should be doing something productive right now. Other people are out there hustling. You're wasting time. I wasn't even 5 minutes into relaxing, and I already felt guilty. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Today, we're going to talk about why rest feels wrong even when you desperately need it, and what's actually happening in your mind when guilt creeps in. Here's what's strange. We all know, intellectually, that rest is necessary. We know our bodies need sleep, we know our minds need breaks. We've all heard the airplane analogy about putting on your own oxygen mask first. And yet, when we actually try to rest, something inside us resists. You finish a long day at work, come home completely drained and think, I'll just lie down for 20 minutes. But the moment you do, your mind floods with accusations. The laundry isn't done, you haven't called your mom back, that project could use more polish. Suddenly, lying down feels less like self-care and more like moral failure. The exhaustion is real, the need for rest is real, but so is the guilt. This isn't a small thing. This contradiction shapes how millions of us live. We push ourselves past our limits, run on empty, and when our bodies finally force us to stop, we spend that rest time feeling bad about resting. We can't even recover properly because we're too busy punishing ourselves for trying. From a very young age, most of us learn a simple equation. Your worth equals your output. Think about school. What got praised? Finishing your homework, getting good grades, participating in activities. The kid who sat quietly and daydreamed? They got told to focus, to do more, to try harder. This continues into adulthood, just with higher stakes. At work, at home, in our social lives, we're constantly measuring ourselves by what we produce. How many tasks did you complete today? How much did you accomplish? What do you have to show for your time? Rest doesn't produce anything visible. It doesn't check boxes or generate results. And because we've been trained to measure our value by our output, rest feels like dropping the ball. It feels like proof that we're not doing enough. Here's the thing though. This equation is based on a lie. You are not a machine. Machines are valuable because of what they produce. Humans are valuable because they exist. But we've spent so long living by productivity rules that we've forgotten this basic truth. When you rest, you're not failing to produce, you're maintaining the person who produces. But because rest is invisible, because it doesn't result in a completed task or a checked box, it doesn't register as legitimate in a system that only counts visible output. There's another layer to this. We don't just measure ourselves against our own output, we measure ourselves against everyone else's. You're sitting on your couch, trying to rest, and you think about your coworker who somehow manages to work full-time, go to the gym, cook elaborate meals, and still have energy for a side project. Or you scroll social media and see people who seem to be doing everything you wish you were doing, and none of them look tired. This creates a painful story. Everyone else can handle this. Everyone else has energy. I must be weak. I must be lazy. But here's what you don't see. You don't see your coworker lying awake at night with anxiety. You don't see the person behind the Instagram post canceling plans because they're burned out. You don't see the full picture of anyone's life but your own. And even if someone genuinely has more energy than you, that doesn't make your exhaustion less real or your need for rest less valid. We all have different capacities, different bodies, different brains, different life circumstances. Comparing your energy levels to someone else's is like comparing your height to theirs and feeling guilty that you're shorter. It's not a moral failing, it's just a fact of being human. But when you're exhausted and trying to rest, your brain doesn't usually think this rationally. Instead, it uses other people's apparent energy as evidence that you're falling behind, that you are not trying hard enough, that you should be. Why does guilt show up specifically around rest? Guilt is an emotion that appears when we believe we violated our values or obligations. It's our internal alarm system saying, "You did something wrong." So when you feel guilty for resting, what your brain is really saying is, resting violates your obligations. But here's the question. What obligation? For most people, it's the fear that if you rest, something bad will happen. You'll fall behind. You'll disappoint someone. You'll lose your edge. Opportunities will pass you by. Other people will get ahead while you're sitting still. Underneath the guilt is often fear. Fear of inadequacy. Fear of being left behind. Fear that you're not enough. And this fear has some truth to it. The world does keep moving while you rest. Emails do pile up. Other people do keep working. But here's what fear doesn't tell you. You cannot sustain output without input. You cannot pour from an empty cup, as the saying goes. When you rest, you're not falling behind. You're preventing the total collapse that comes from ignoring your limits too long. But fear is louder than logic, and guilt is fear's messenger. Let's talk about what rest actually does, because maybe knowing this will help quiet the guilt. When you rest, your body repairs itself, your muscles recover, your immune system strengthens, your brain processes information, consolidates memories, and clears out waste products that build up during waking hours. Rest isn't empty time, it's maintenance time. It's the period where your system does all the background work that makes future productivity possible. Think of it like this. When you charge your phone, you're not wasting time. You're ensuring the phone can function tomorrow. No one feels guilty about charging their phone, but somehow we feel guilty about charging ourselves. The difference is we can see the battery percentage on our phones. We can't see our own internal resources depleting until we're already running on fumes. And by then, rest doesn't feel like prevention anymore. It feels like giving up. But rest is never giving up. It's the opposite. It's choosing to take care of yourself so you can show up as the person you want to be, rather than pushing until you break. If you're watching this and you felt guilty for resting, I want you to know something. That guilt doesn't mean you're lazy. It means you've been taught to measure your worth by what you produce, and you've internalized that message so deeply that even your body's basic needs feel like moral failures. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to rest. You don't have to earn it, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. The world might tell you that rest is something you fit in when everything else is done, but the truth is, there will always be more to do. Rest isn't a reward for finishing. It's part of what makes finishing possible at all. So the next time guilt shows up when you're trying to rest, acknowledge it, notice it, and then rest anyway. You're not falling behind. You're taking care of the person who has to show up for everything else.